to claim a city, each player has a meeple. It's an unusual term, but here they are. Essentially they are player pawns, and in this case they are shaped like people. Now they've a nice little wooden components, and each player has a set or colour for themselves. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to be blue and I'm going to claim this city as mine. The next player might draw a piece and they might get, say, perhaps this piece. This is another interesting piece, and it could be placed in a number of ways. One could be there, like such. Go there, be there. It could not be placed there because the features would not match. The road would not match the farmland there. But apart from that, you can see that it could be placed in so many different ways that the possibilities for this game are near endless. So let's have a look at this. Yellow's going to place this here. Now yellow has a meeple, and if we look carefully here, he's going to place it on the road, and you'll see that the road has a starting point and an end point, or a start and an end either way. And this allows the road to be complete, and because he has placed the meeple on this road that which he has just completed, he may claim points for it. Points are scored for roads at 1 point for every square of road. So in this case, yellow would score 3 points, which is a nice easy start for yellow. So once yellow's claimed the points, he may take his piece back. Now each player has a number of these components, 7 all up, one of which is used on the scoring track, which I mentioned earlier. And as you can see, yellow would simply go 1, 2, 3, and that would be a record of its current score. So back to our game. Red now draws a piece, and red draws a cloister. Cloisters are fun. They offer you lots of challenges. In some ways are very easy to play, and other ways very hard. The scoring for cloisters is that they can score you 1 point for every piece of farmland around them. So to place a cloister in here would not be a wise, is an impossible move, because there is no access through this city to farmland, despite the fact that there's no matching of tile edges either. So cloisters are placed with the intent of building farmland around them to create a area of domination, 3 squares wide by 3 squares high, for a total of 9 squares. And cloisters are only complete once each block of 9 squares is completed. So red places their meeple on the cloister, and they're going to try and, obviously with their strategy, try and build in farmland around that to create a complete cloister, at which point they will score 9 points. So cloisters are great. So we're back to blue. Blue draws its next tile, and oh my goodness, what an interesting looking tile. Now what makes this tile so interesting is that you will notice it has 2 cities which are bordered in the corner there, but they don't actually meet. So this would complete a city one side, and this would complete a city on the other side. Very interesting piece, and blue could use it in a number of ways. Obviously it won't fit here because we won't get a complete match of pieces, the tile edges. So an obvious one would be to place it here. Now this would complete blue's city over here, and it would start another one. And if blue wanted to, you could place another meeple in here to claim this city, which is under construction now, and he could claim back his meeple and score points for this completed city, which now has a complete wall around it. He scores 2 points for every city tile in his city, so this would be a total of 6 points. So back onto our scoring track, blue would find itself on 6 points. Right, so I believe yellow was playing next, so let's draw a tile for yellow, and yellow comes up with this interesting piece. Now if yellow wanted to, it could complete that city, but it cannot place a meeple in the same city as blue. This also applies to roads. You cannot place one of your meeples in the same city or road or farm as an opponent's meeple. So yellow, in this case, would be out of luck. It cannot do that. That's a no-go. Yellow could place that, and blue could score points for it, and yellow could claim the road or claim a farm. And that might be an interesting strategy. Blue would score obviously another 6 points for that. Yellow could place its meeple lying down to designate a farmer, and at the end of the game it would score, if it was the farmer in control of this area, it would score 4 points for each city in its area of control, and potentially that could be quite a lot of points. And this is part of the long-term strategy in the game, is learning to place farmers as part of a longer term strategy to gain a lot of points at the final tallying up at the end of the game. In this case I don't think yellow will do that. Yellow might actually claim a very small city over here. Now in this version of the rules, small cities are only of 2 tiles, only worth 2 points, and I believe this has been done to balance up the scoring at the end of the game, because it's quite easy to make very small cities and a lot of them, and at the end of the game when you have to tally up the points with farmers, small cities can really imbalance the game, because you could, if under the old rules you would score 4 points, but the new rules you only score 2 points for a small city, and then with all these small cities on farms, you would gain lots and lots of points right at the end of the game and probably wipe your opponents out. So yellow places that and claims 2 points for their small city, and we'll move yellow up 2 spaces on our little track. Great. Red draws a piece, and red has a road piece with a farm, and I suppose red has a lot of choices here, but this might be a good placement here for red. Now red might also decide that red wants to claim the farm, so we place our meeple lying down, and red is obviously hoping that this city here and this city here will be completed, or this one is complete, this city will be completed, and it will score points at the end of the game for having 2 complete cities on its farm. Now a farm is a contiguous area of green tile. Now if you're careful looking at this example, and I might just move this across a little bit because there's an interesting little feature I want to show. Right, here we go. Now this farm here goes all the way, it's bordered by this road and the edge of the tiles, but it comes all the way across here and around up here by the river, and it actually comes around the river here and across to this piece. Farmers work by supplying cities. So each city that they border and from their farm, they are going to score points for. So in this case, if the game was, for example, to end this very moment, red would be scoring 4 points at the end of the game for these two cities each, for a total of 8. That's quite a lot of points at the end of the game, and it's surprising how quick scores can soar up depending on how the game is played out with farmers and the size of different cities. The larger cities you have, the larger they get, the less value the farmers become. Farmers really become valuable with these smaller sized cities because they can be built very quickly, and because they can be very numerous, each one scores the same amount for the farmer as for a larger city. So if this was to be, for example, if this had been a city covering, say, 6 tiles, it would score the same amount of points as a smaller city of 2 or 3 tiles. Obviously 2 or 3 tiles is much quicker to build, so there is an attraction to claim quick and easy points with smaller cities. But there is value in having larger cities, as we will get to in a minute.